What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Rarity Games podcast, and thank you to all the subscribers for coming back and checking out the channel. If you guys are not subscribed yet, please hit that button for us. It would really help us out, and make sure to give us a like on the video. It's been a little while since we did a podcast. We're back with my buddy Chris.
Hey, what's up?
And there's a ton of news and a ton of stuff going on for the future of 2020. A whole lot of good and bad news, depending on how you want to take it. But let's get right into it and start with what the hell have you been playing lately, Chris? I haven't talked to you in a while.
2020 so far has been a very interesting season because I'm still trying to polish off some of the big bangers from 2019.
Yeah,
a lot of time in Resident Evil 2, the remake, because that game is just so fun. It's so beautiful and disgusting and spooky and like.
One way to put it.
Yeah, I think they don't get into the physics of like how well that game was re-engineered, like with the shotgun effects and everything, and not just the standard jump scares with some of like the lurkers and all that kind of stuff. Not to give too much stuff away.
Lickers or whatever.
Lickers,
yeah.
yes. Thank you.
Yeah, I know you're talking about. Those things are nuts, dude. They used to scare the crap out of me when I was younger.
Yeah, but that, and I tried to get back into Fire Emblem Three Houses, but I think I let that one sit a little too long, so I might have to restart that at some point.
Oh, really?
Dude, I'm not that far into it. I'm only about maybe 10 hours into it, which for a Fire Emblem game is like, oh, you've gotten like 3 missions done.
Yeah. Fair enough.
So I've been playing Mario Odyssey just for
you're getting into it.
Yeah, just for a fun kind of like one-off. It's something I can play with my fiance where she actually like knows what's going on.
You doing the co-op with her where she's the hat?
Every once in a while.
That's awesome.
That, and we were messing with the balloon mode a little bit where like you're Luigi and you have to find balloons. Yeah, it was like
Didn't even mess with that.
It was like a weird free DLC thing they came out with. That
I haven't checked any of that out.
Yeah, it was interesting.
I actually just beat that within. I beat the crap out of that game, and Dan just every time he's hanging out here, and I like if he stays over or something, he hops on the Switch while I'm in bed and just rocks out. Dude, he's gotten maybe 250, 300 moons now. He's beaten the dark side of the moon, all that. He's grinding, dude. I was like, damn, you really like Mario.
One of the interesting things about playing this with my fiance is that we played through 3D World on Wii U, and we played through, what was the Super Mario Brothers U?
Yeah.
The side-scroller one? Yeah, so we played through all of them, and she seemed to enjoy them a little bit more, I want to say. I don't know if it's maybe because, like, getting back into, like, the Switch controls or, like...
Yeah, and it's a little all over the place and speedy.
Because this is, for all intents and purposes, her first, like, hands-on with my
3D
Switch.
3D adventure game, too.
No, well, the 3D World she played, but it was on, like, the tablet. Like, it's the big, chunky Wii U tablet. Gotcha. The buttons were a little bit easier and stuff like that. With the Switch Joy-Con, she's a little...
I was going to ask, you're doing Switch Joy-Con with her? Yeah, see, what me and Dan were doing in 2 players, one of us would take the controller, and the other would take the 2 Joy-Cons.
Yeah.
Makes it a little easier, a little more fluent.
Yeah, but, yeah, like I said, catching up on just a lot of 2019 stuff. There was a lot of huge games. Started playing Frostpunk, which is another Game Pass game. Game Pass has been fantastic with inundating me with awesome, weird little games. Untitled Goose Game was just joy.
Yeah, like that?
That game was fantastic. So, everything I thought I would like about Goat Simulator, I really loved about Untitled Goose Game. It had way more charm. The art style was that, like, construction papery kind of cel-shaded look, very simple. But it's primarily a puzzle game at its heart. Sure, you can be a goose and just run around and honk and mess people up, but like the checklist of doing stuff and the way, like, if you mess something up, the world will reset itself. Like, you have to, like, turn on a faucet to flood the guy's garden so he runs outside so you can open a door and you can run in to try and steal his hat.
Interesting.
And, like, it's It's very stupid, but very innocent and surprisingly addictive. It's not long. I want to say the game's maybe 7 hours or so.
Really?
But it was
That's it?
well worth a run to.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but great things about that game. It's won a couple awards and everything this year, so.
I'm hard pressed to think of something that's like it, but it was a short, wonderful experience. Yeah. It reminds me of some of those indie titles that are like, hey, this is a snippet, this is an experience.
Yeah, here, enjoy this.
This is a demo of what some maybe other stuff we could make later on down the road, like one of those kind of games. Like,
I got you.
For I don't know if it's their first outing as a game, but it's certainly.
I think it
impressive.
is a new studio.
I think it is too. I think it originally started as like maybe a college project or. So it started as some kind of weird project.
I'm not familiar. I remember hearing a lot about the title itself, and then like it became. They were just like, you know what? People have been calling it the Untitled Goose Game. How about we just call it the Untitled? So
I believe it's a Housemarque Games is who makes it.
Yeah.
So shout out to them.
That's cool. But, yeah, I've been on the same thing as you. Essentially, 2019 games up until recently, obviously. Yeah, I've grinded out Days Gone, a little bit of Outer Worlds. I started playing a little bit of the Expedition mode in Control. Days Gone is awesome. I think that was a way underrated game. People I know there's a certain standard for people's idea of PlayStation exclusives. But like, there's this like kind of like people just think they have to be perfect for some reason, and like I get that, but this game is really, really good. Like if it was a regular AAA game that came out on Xbox and PlayStation, people would probably praise it way more. I think the story was incredible. I love it. So like I'm literally 98% done the game. I have like 2 missions left, I assume. And, like, I have 4 trophies left in the game. So, it's, like, that bad. And then, of course, got into the game of the year, Sekiro.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, that game is so hard, so fun, so good. I can't say enough nice things about it. I felt a little off about it being game of the year until I played it. And, like, dude, it's so deserved it in every which way. From Software, they finally got the one, and, like, I hope they keep going with this exact model of games with a few tweaks and improvements.
Well, and everybody finds their kind of From Software game to get into that's like...
You were saying.
And not only that, but From Software does the very hard job of kicking you in the teeth and having you like it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's never a point in the game where you'll die or you'll get beat up or something that it's the game's fault. No, it was my fault. I didn't do this right, or I didn't roll right. Sure, you'll have the rage moment, but a couple seconds later, once you take a deep breath, you realize, all right, I got to do this, or I got to come at it from a weird angle. And that's what the From Software games do really well, is they make you think about things differently.
And my rage moments in that game, the small ones that I had, are quickly followed by, okay, let me just not do this again, turn around and go a different direction. And that's the best thing about this game, is you can just go from place to place to place, and you will find another boss, you will find another area, you will find something you can beat. Like, I think at one point I had 5 different boss directions, and I beat a couple of them, yada, yada, yada. I thought I found almost every pathway in the game, and then turned around and went a different way, jumped in a pool of water, and found another turn, and that turn took me down 15 other areas that I didn't know about. Like, and this was like way late in the game. Like me and Dan have been grinding that game a lot and really enjoying it, because it has, as we know, Star Wars took a lot from it. And like Star Wars, it was such a great game for us. We platinumed it and all that, and like we wanted more of something like that, and this game is that, and it's way more than just that. It's so fun, so punishing in the best way.
Star Wars was like a gummy version of that. Like, it was a fantastic game. It took a lot of the influence from the like Dark Souls, FromSoft kind of genre, but they made it in a more palatable way. Like, the map in Fallen Order was way better, because there's not really a map in traditional From Software games. You kind of just have to figure out your way. But it's really good to see that you got into that.
I love it. I think that now, like, it's a very close second to my game of the year, just because I love the IP of Star Wars and the way that they did it and the way they brought that story together. It's definitely my game of the year with Control right next to it, and then Sekiro's like kind of tied with Control in a way.
Yeah, and for me personally, yeah, Fallen Order was my game of the year last year. That was the one that just absolutely like I not only couldn't put down, but I actively looked forward to progressing in the story and doing everything. I didn't platinum it, I didn't get all the achievements in it, but I got more than enough, and I had so much fun with that game that I would literally recommend it to all my friends and lend them a copy, or you know what I mean. It was that kind of game where you're like, oh, I got to spread the word about this.
Yeah. One last thing I've been playing lately before we get into the legit 2020 news is the first game of 2020. Thankfully, like we're gonna talk about soon, it did not get delayed. The Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, and boy, this game did Dragon Ball Z right. Like, look, it's not. I'm not gonna sit here and tell anyone that it's the perfect game, because as a game, no, it's not. It is not like this crazy open world or anything like that. It's like a bunch of mini open worlds for each town and yada yada. I'm not gonna get too deep into it. I want to talk about that in a separate video. I want to give you guys my first impressions on that. Bless you. But it's great for if you're a Dragon Ball Z fan, you're an anime fan. They did it right. Like if you like Xenoverse or Xenoverse 2, this game is very similar, but way smoother and very cohesive in the story sense. Mm-hmm. So like it just feels so good. The combat system, like the biggest thing, and I keep saying this to everyone that likes Dragon Ball Z, that I talk about when I talk to them about this game, is you can teleport whenever you want in the battle system. That's my biggest thing with this game that made it feel like Dragon Ball Z. Like you can just tap X and like the fact that you can do that, it doesn't take away your ki. Like anytime you block somebody, you can teleport behind them and punch them. Like that is the biggest thing ever.
So I know the Dragon Ball story. I know the mythos and all that kind of stuff. I haven't really dug into this game hardly at all. Is it an RPG? Is it an action RPG?
Yes, very much so. In its own way, yes. Like many of these action RPG style games. But it's a lot of leveling up, a lot of grinding. There's food. Like you gotta,
Yeah, I saw they tried to do the Breath of the Wild like cooking system ish.
It essentially is, yeah. But it's like you can kind of do it a little more on the fly in a way. Like there's a lot of stuff you can eat just as is, and then you can go cook your dishes. There's full course meals, regular meals. And like there's a ton of items, and then there's like a community board where you can get like characters you interact with and then level them up in the board. And like so there's like, to quickly run this down, it's like the Z fighters are based on like attack style, the cooking is your cooking, and then their training is defense style, and then adventure is like HP, and like there's like different boards, and you put your characters in there and then you can level them up. Like they're just people you interact with in the game, but you level them up, and that's an RPG stat all through and through for anyone you're using. And then they got like your base skill trees like you'd expect, and you unlock more stuff as you progress in the story. And then you got your leveling up of each ability, and like it's very RPG. It's awesome.
Okay, that does sound very interesting. So like the cooking system's almost like the Monster Hunter, where you get better stuff,
more
you
Zelda,
cook better stuff. Okay, more Zelda.
More Zelda. It's very much like they basically grabbed that and took it. Essentially, there's no campfires or anything. You more just talk to somebody or go to a shop.
Gotcha.
And they cook. You buy the food at one shop or hunt it, like fish, wolves, deer, whatever. It's everything's very simplistic. Like a kid could pick this game up and figure out how to beat it.
I was gonna say all this talk about the food makes me want to see the Gohan scene where he just keeps slicing parts of the dinosaur tail off to eat it.
They did a couple runoffs to that. They did a lot of really cool stuff. And if you like Dragon Ball Z as a story, it is literally from Raditz to Boo, and I definitely recommend it. It's just great. They took out all the bullshit filler. Mm-hmm. They got rid of it, and they gave you a very cohesive, awesome Dragon Ball Z story. And it's like
awesome to hear.
You want to relive the game or relive the show, you want to rewatch it, screw rewatching it, play the game. Like it's like that.
Really?
Yeah.
It's that what like
it's dead on. Like I watched a comparison video the other day, and it showed like the iconic scenes from the show and from the game, and it's just a way better looking version of Dragon Ball Z.
That's like, really impressive to hear, and I'm really glad about that.
They did awesome. It's from CyberConnect 2. I don't want to get too much into this, but it's from CyberConnect 2, who did the Naruto Ninja Storm games.
Okay.
So, like, they were been working on combat systems for a while, because that's basically all the Ninja Storm games were.
Yeah.
It was just combat, and so, like, they got it down already, so they just transitioned it to Dragon Ball and tweaked it and made it a little more smoother and less ridiculous.
Gotcha.
More accessible. It's very simple to get into and just go for it. It has times where they don't fully tell you everything you should know. I'll get, like I said, I'll get into that more in a video. I really want to do some like gameplay and first impressions style of video, because I'm loving it. So I think buy it if you like DBZ.
I think that we're getting a really nice Dragon Ball renaissance right now, because like people that grew up with it are now making games out of it. Like with what was it, Fighter Z last year, where like it looked so perfect, like it looked like it was better than the actual anime.
And it was like a true fighter, like a real true fighter. And this one's like the real true RPG.
It made it to Evo. Like if you would have told me a couple years ago that there was like an esports fighting Dragon Ball game,
and it's
like
the Evo game, like they for this last year, that and Mortal Kombat, like ran that. You're dead on with that. And people are really hungering for Dragon Ball right now, because the show is wrapped up at the moment. Yeah. There's only the manga, and then there's only the tidbits you get out of the fucking Japan, and then you got the movie recently, and you
have to be a very hardcore fan to go down that path, versus the anime show is like, oh hey, it's online, oh hey, it's here, let's Funimation, all that.
And it's a very just accessible Dragon Ball Z game, and it goes along lines of that action adventure RPG, so it's like perfect for people right now.
So I'm going to take my tinfoil hat and just put that on for a second and go, do you think for the next one, let's say this is a large success, which it sounds like it's a solid game from what you're telling me, do you think the next one is going to be a sequel, summing up some of the super story, or what I honestly would prefer to see? I would prefer to see them go back and, just like this, do original Dragon Ball. Little kid go to, old man grandpa Gohan, like...
You mean Goku?
I tripped over my words.
They're not going to do Dragon Ball. I know that now, because they're doing bits and pieces of like backstory for it as you're going through Z. So they obviously want to just scan over it and let it go.
Gotcha. Because if they did this as a prequel, like I would hardcore slap money down on that, because the old story is kind of what I know. Like, Z was great, but like old Dragon Ball was fun.
I get what you're saying, but they have a lot of cool moments though in this, where you get like memories and stuff, and you get to like relive little bits and pieces of Dragon Ball, because as you're roaming the free world, like you get to look around and like, oh, this is that one spot where when Goku was a kid, he did this at the third. So it has those kind of things, and then like you pick up the memory and it'll tell you like a scene, like he saved Bulma from this, that, the third.
When Piccolo was evil and jumped out of Kame or whatever,
stuff like that. Like the Red Ribbon, the Dr. Gero, and da 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 da. Yeah, it's really cool actually, because it's like moments that I forgot, like I know from Dragon Ball, but I forgot it. Like it's not fresh in my brain, and then when I see the little clip I'm like, oh, I remember that episode. Like that was awesome. Like that's what this game has been through and through. Is like you're reliving it and then going, oh my god, this is that part. That is awesome. Like I ran through the part where Trunks literally chopped, like when Frieza comes back, and it's the first time you see future Trunks, and he's like, I'm a Super Saiyan 2, and then Frieza's like, oh boy, and he powers up and then just rips him to pieces and slices him in half and then dices him into chunks and then just kills King Cool in one hit. Like,
you're already selling the game for me. I have too many games to play already, and you're like,
dude, it's great. It's great. Put it that way. But yeah, I don't, for the sequel wise, I'm not going to say yes, it's probably going to happen, because I don't know. We have to see what sales look like and stuff
absolutely.
Like that.
Like I said, tinfoil hat moment, just spitballing.
And see how the DLC is, because they already have the season pass planned, but it says 2 original episodes and 1 new story arc. So that's all it said. So it's like there's not. It's a very vague information thing. So
they could also do like a side character, like offshoot story arc.
They already did that for like the pre-order thing.
What's Krillin doing?
We'll see. We'll see what happens. But I think that's definitely an open possibility. Is like it because it seems like Bandai Namco is killing it right now.
Dude,
they've been doing a lot of new things that like changing it up. Like Jump Force was awesome. Dragon Ball Fighter Z was awesome. Like
did they do Iceborne? The Monster Hunter expansion?
No, it's Capcom.
Capcom, okay.
So, Japanese, very close related. I feel you though.
No, well, I was gonna say because I know they sold like a bajillion copies of Monster Hunter and Iceborne.
Yeah,
because
Capcom,
they put Monster Hunter out on Game Pass and then they discounted Iceborne like $10.
Yeah, they did a lot of stuff like that on PlayStation 2. So yeah, they killed it. They definitely killed it. But
awesome.
To get right into the legit news that everybody's been talking about nonstop. I'm sure if you guys are watching this show, you've seen a good bit of it already, but we'd like to elaborate a little on this. This is the great 2020 delay, like as a whole. Like I don't even have to say delays. It is the delay. It's like it is. I have a feeling it has a lot to do with the next generation consoles. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, literally every good game that you were planning on playing and us is delayed. Some for a very short period of time and others for about 6 to 8 months. So this is huge. Like, just about everything got delayed from Cyberpunk 2077 and Final Fantasy 7 all the way to Avengers,
Doom
and
Eternal,
Dying Light 2, Doom Eternal. Well, Doom Eternal was the first to get delayed.
Exactly, that started the avalanche.
That one is the one that I feel like wasn't, for whatever reason, these are getting delayed for. I feel like that was a Bethesda thing or whatever, but this is like so many delays back to back to back. It has to do with next gen.
So, yes, I was just getting ready to say there's two major reasons for a lot of these delays. One would be next-gen optimization. I think that's why Cyberpunk got delayed. There's a report going around that they were having problems optimizing it on the low end for launch PS4 and Xbox One consoles because...
Which I'm not surprised.
Because the spec range from when it launched, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, it's going to be hard for them to try and make that game run at all, let alone well, on a launch console. So I can understand that. I think Doom Eternal falls into the same category of trying to make the game better. I don't think it has anything to do with next gen. I think it has to do with optimization for levels. Multiple people that have gotten their hands on Doom Eternal at GDC and whatever kind of like game events that have been around have said that game feels amazing, and I think they're just trying to polish it because the big difference between Doom 2016 and this Doom sequel of Doom Eternal is now when you do different weapons and kill guys differently, you get different rewards out of it. So if you use a flamer to get shields, you use your gun to get health, you melee to get, you know what I mean? So it almost has a rhythm game aspect to it, which I think is a fantastic idea. With that being said, if they're going to optimize the game that way, then the whole game has to feel good rhythm-wise. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like bash, hit, shoot, run, jump, bash.
Like they feel smooth through and through, and the first one did. So I have no doubt that it will. But making sure that's optimized and clean the whole way through is very important.
I think Bethesda also can't afford another game not to really.
And I feel like that's why they were one of the first to go. Okay, this is not happening. And what was it going to be? January, right? January or February?
February, I want to say.
And now it's March.
Late March.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's the next big game coming, and then everybody was hoping for Final Fantasy VII, which was going to be March, and Cyberpunk, which was going to be April, and those two are now got delayed. Final Fantasy VII only being by a month, which is not too bad. It's now April 10th, I believe, and then Cyberpunk, which is right next to it, and Avengers. Which Avengers is also Square Enix, and this got announced the same day as Final Fantasy VII. They jumped far, all the way to September.
Well, before you get too far back to September, don't forget they bumped Animal Crossing 2 3 weeks.
Well, they bumped that 4 times.
I know, and they're going to keep
It's a Nintendo
bumping it,
thing.
little bumps, you're like, okay, I can understand making the game better, or whatever.
You noticed something, there was a bug, whatever.
Avengers, they did 6 or 7 months they pushed it out.
That is the one game that I am like, okay, I'm happy you did this. I'm happy everything got bumped, because if there's something wrong, I'd much rather them fix it now. And I think the other thing is financially and marketing wise, they know. First of all, a lot of games haven't been marketed that well. It doesn't seem like. And secondly,
Avengers,
the fiscal year for most of these people end in March anyway. Most of these games were coming out towards the end of March or after March. So they were probably like, look, if there's anything wrong, what's it matter to us? We're already past our fiscal year. We're not gonna bag anything. Let's just push it down and make sure it's good.
And Avengers didn't necessarily have the strongest E3 showing last year.
No, and that's
behind closed doors, people got a different experience, which they say was a little bit better. But the what they showed to the world didn't set the world on fire, which is interesting because from a Marvel game you would expect it to.
I really enjoyed what I saw. I liked what I saw. I didn't. It wasn't anything that I was like, oh my god, this is incredible. But I was like, oh, this is going to be good. Like, this is going to be a good game. I'm happy that I get to do this. We've talked about it in the past. They brought on a lot of people from a lot of different great teams, like people from God of War to do Thor's combat and yada yada.
And I think part of the problem...
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I look forward to it as well. I think part of the problem with the response was coming off of Endgame. Like, it was such a big thing, and then you're seeing these video game characters that aren't the same voices, and I think for the mass market audience, for kind of everybody that doesn't really play every game, but maybe just the big ones,
those movies,
it didn't line up for them, and that's not my Tony Stark, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, which is so silly to me. Give them more time to breathe. That's a big part of it for Avengers. Because you look at Square Enix, and I feel like it's a little different for them, whatever it is. I'm sure there's bugs, and I'm sure there's console optimization issues, and yada yada yada. But it's a little different for them, because you see Final Fantasy only moving a month. So that's obviously something small that they're dealing with or they want to fix real quick.
Yeah. Or
then they got Avengers, which is a big difference. They got 6 months. They announced both of these delays the same day. But like you got I think it's different for Square Enix. They want to play it smart. Is what's going on with them.
And I think that's wise for them. Speaking of playing it smart, another company that's taken a big hit this year was Ubisoft. Ubisoft doesn't have anything. They delayed Watch Dogs Legion.
Well, because Ghost Recon Breakpoint was a goddamn disaster. Nobody cares. People are tired of it. The people are still playing Odyssey, but they're tired of Ubisoft's aridity, whatever the hell you want to call it. Just same old bullshit, put it that way.
Well, and I think the even bigger issue for them was the community from the last Ghost Recon game didn't go to this Ghost Recon game. The old Ghost Recon game is more popular than the new Ghost Recon game.
Yeah.
Was it Wildlands was the last one?
It wasn't that great either.
No, but in Ubisoft fashion, there was a community. They kept coming out with stuff for it, and it was supported, and people bought the DLC because they were all in on that game.
Yeah.
I think also the bigger issue is they were saying that the Division 2, which was a fun game, I played the Division 2, didn't have the tail that they expected. Like, people didn't buy the pass, they're not doing, like, the engagement and the spend money part of it, like, wasn't there. Because they played it, they ran through it, and the problem with the Division 2 was you hit a point in that game where the world almost resets, they bring out a third faction, which was cool and interesting for like 5 or 10 extra hours, but then you're just running the same missions again, you're doing the same encounters again, and the grind becomes more annoying than entertaining.
Yes, and that's what I was gonna say is like you hear people like Greg Miller talking about it. He was like, "Oh yeah, I was so looking forward to playing the raid. I just wanted to see their gear score pop up, but that hasn't happened. So I don't feel like grinding this game for 40-50 hours to get like a special kind of class setup so I can beat the raid once.
Yep.
Oh no.
And I'm at the point of endgame with a friend of mine where like we need to go hunt and run for specific weapons to get
you gotta have the special class setups. It's just, I don't care. I have too much to play.
It reminded me of the end game of World of Warcraft in like 2006, where you're like, I have to get this sword to kill this boss, and if I don't, then it's impossible.
It's ridiculous. Ubisoft have been playing this game for a while, and it's worked great for them for a long time, where they go, video game, DLC drop, secondary announcement of another DLC drop. Let's add a few free things. Keep this game going for 2 or 3 years. A new game, and it's like, but literally, like, it feels like a month or two after they drop something, they have the new version of the game coming out, and it's just reiterating, adding a little bit at a time, and it just people are tired of it, dude.
And I completely understand, because I loved Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
I was gonna say it's the only game it worked for.
I played the heck out of Assassin's Creed Odyssey, but that still suffered from the same problems. It just suffered much later in the game from the problems. I got 100 hours in by the time I stopped playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and I didn't beat the game.
No, I feel you. I'm like probably around the same.
I just started some of the DLC that takes place before the end of the game.
Yeah.
And I'll go back to it and finish it, because thank God Assassin's Creed Odyssey is one of those games where, like,
it's enjoyable no matter what.
Exactly. But when you come up to a cutscene or a moment, like, they'll give you the cues of, like, kind of what happened. Not everything, but, like, kind of what happened. The side quests they don't fill in, but the main story arcs you get.
Yeah, and I'm far from saying, and I'm sure you are too, that it's not like they're bad games. They're good games, but they are so similar to what's been happening already. You see 2 games that it's kind of worked for them is Rainbow Six Siege and then Assassin's Creed Odyssey. They're both the 2 games where, like, they did this reiterating stuff on it, but, like, you see Siege worked because they focused hard on that one. Yep. And they put so much time and effort over the years into that game, and they didn't make people buy it repeatedly. Like, it made more sense the way they did it, and I think that's their goal, is to kind of make more games like that. And like something that they put tender love and care into, and when it's released, it feels like a full game, and when you get a DLC, it feels like you want that.
And this, I think, is a sign of those growing pains, because they came out at E3 and said, we want to make more games like Siege. We want to make more games that are fewer but are longer life games that last for years, which is a very ambitious idea, and for a community, a great idea. The problem is, your game has to be that good it can support people for years. You have to have enough content there that it can support people for years. And some Ubisoft games do. And not everyone does. Don't. Exactly. Like,
they can't keep dumping money into these games and then having them not get much of a return.
And
like, if I have about 100+ hours of content still to play, I'm not going to buy your season pass every time.
Yep.
It's not going to happen.
You get into the case where you really have to have me fall in love with a game for me to then turn around and buy that. Which then, regardless of how good or bad the additional season pass content is, it's like you have to be sold on dinner and still hungry for more.
Yeah, and then want dessert after.
Exactly. And you already crammed like 2 steaks on me. I'm not, you know what I mean? I got to do something else. I got to get up and walk around.
Yeah, I appreciate the 2 steaks, and I'm full. Like,
right? Steak's delicious, but it gets old after a while.
Yeah, and another game I was looking forward to so much that I'm very disappointed to see delayed was a spring 2020 release of Dying Light 2. Like, that game looks incredible. You know how much I love Dying Light.
Yes, Dying Light
was one of my favorite games of what, 2017?
16
or something. It was great. I came back to it multiple times. I played all the DLCs. I loved that game, and I'm looking very much forward to it. It looks like a very ambitious and different game. And for them to delay that along with all these other delays, I was so sad.
And speaking of a game that you have to fall in love with to really buy into the life cycle and buy the DLC and all that, that was one of those games I had fun with it. I played for about 20-25 hours, got my fill, and moved on. And it was great. I enjoyed it, but I moved on. You, on the other hand, played the massive expansion that was bigger than the whole game was originally.
I probably put at least 200 hours into that game. Maybe
that
more.
Was Techland that made that, right?
Yeah, I love that game. And I was never really into, like, the Dead Islands and stuff like that. Like, I didn't mind them, but, like, this was way more than a zombie game. It wasn't the parkour and, like, just the story and, like, it was so good.
And I played some of the Dead Island games, and I think that was a negative for me because I played it like a Dead Island game, and it was not a Dead Island game at all.
That's why it was such a positive for me, because I didn't play much of Dead Island at all, and I came into Dying Light like, what is this? This is awesome.
And Dead Island was just a fun kind of zombie throwaway game that was great and fun, but it was like, oh, I can just go play in this world and beat a zombie with an oar from a boat. Like, you know what I mean?
It's sad but funny that I can hear the sound effects in my head right now of Dying Light. Like, talking about it, I love that game.
That's really good Foley work. When you, like, hear the sound of the thing in your head, like, that's it.
They killed it. So I'm actually, that's another one. I'm really happy about the delay, as much as I'm so sad I don't get to play it in spring. I'm happy that they're going to give us an even more enticing and full game.
I'm kind of concerned because the rumor mill around Reddit's pumping out that it's indefinitely delayed. Like, it's now a back burner.
They've had issues a lot with TechClan, but, like, it's so ambitious that I can see that.
Well, I could also see them putting that on the back burner for a year, waiting for next gen to launch, and then they're not going to have the technical limitations. Because I think we're going to start to see fatigue, much like we did with the iPhones, where, like, oh, the iPhone 6 and 6S don't play this game, but the 7 and up do because it's got this better chip. Yeah. And it's like, well, you said it plays on iPhones.
You're dead on. And there's two major reasons I think they need to get away from, like, a late 2020 release is the amount of games coming out now in late 2020 are ridiculous. Like, they are all packed together now in the end of the year, and they're not, a lot of games aren't going to be able to compete with stuff like Cyberpunk. And if they're coming out around the same time, they're going to fade in the background, quite like they did with their first original release. And like you said, the tech, like, why not just say, sorry, PS4, we're not coming out on that. Let's just go with PS5 and Xbox Series X because it's going to run way better and it's going to be great. So I'm all for a 2021 release.
I think we're gonna see a lot of games start to do that.
Yeah.
One of the kind of issues is, like we were saying, with the launch consoles being so, I don't want to say underpowered, but like the aging tech of those is really, I think, going to start to handicap there is no more platform kind of thing. I'm sorry, there's no more generation kind of thing. There's just is.
Yeah.
Because you can very easily play old games on the new hardware, but playing new games on old hardware doesn't work.
Not going to work out.
They have to draw a line in the sand somewhere, and I think that's going to be coming sooner than later. Especially for
this gen, yes.
Especially for Xbox, who was less than PS4 at launch of this previous generation. I think there's going to come a point where it's going to be only plays with X, S, and then Series X, or you know what I mean, whatever.
Yeah. No, you're dead on. I think because, like, I was thinking about this a lot lately because it's like last generation we got so many games that came out for PS4 but were on PS3 and people didn't even know it, like, for the longest time. Like Persona 5
exactly
came out on PS3.
I brought that up to you and you're like, no, that's not a thing.
No,
that
didn't
happen.
So, like, you think about stuff like that and, like, that happened forever because it makes them money and they're gonna try their best to do that again. But they also are probably going to look at it like people are going to buy a lot of PS4 games that come out on the PS5.
Not only that, but you also have to look at it from a quality control standpoint.
Yeah,
You're putting
that's
out
lose them a lot of money.
Cyberpunk 2077, arguably one of the, like, this year's Red Dead or this year's GTA. It's going to be like the big whale that, like, everyone's moving to get out of its way. And the fact that Cyberpunk moved is really, like, changing the waves in the game industry. And I think you come to a point where you have to be like, I want someone to play this properly. I want this to run right. I want this to be a representation of us as a game company. So if you have to, say, maybe drop off the launch Xbox or drop off the launch PS4 and say, hey, this only works on Pro and 5.
Yeah. Look, honestly, these delays are a blessing in disguise because it gives us a lot of time to finish our 2019, 2018 back catalog. And it gives the games that are still making it out in spring room to thrive. Like, Final Fantasy VII is going to thrive now. Even Animal Crossing, Dragon Ball Kakarot, Doom. Like, these games have an opening to live a little. And, like, then you're looking at the end of 2020, and it's like, oh, boy. Like, you got Avengers and Cyberpunk in the same month. You got, and then a ton of other games that are going to push around there. Like, what Ubisoft games are coming at the end of 2020? Watch Dogs.
Legion, that's about it.
As we know.
Another wild card in the same exact vein, I'm right on the page with you. Nintendo hasn't released anything past March. We don't know what Nintendo has this year.
It's going to be wild.
How long has it been since we saw that Breath of the Wild 2 trailer? A year and a half? A year and some change?
Yeah, we're going to see that pretty soon, honestly. I can see that popping up very soon.
I can totally see that being an E3 stealth drop this year of like, this comes out, say, March 2021.
Ooh, I forgot about The Last of Us 2 as well. That got delayed as well. February, and now it's May. So, like, another game that's going to get the chance to thrive a little bit. And then we got the Ghost of Tsushima, which is coming out not delayed because they said summer 2020, and I have a feeling they're going to stick to that. Probably late summer now.
And I don't know the exact date, but they were saying fall for Resident Evil 3.
Yeah.
Because
I thought that was sooner.
I thought it was fall because they were still trying to figure out where to put it. But anyway, much like with Breath of the Wild and Breath of the Wild 2, the engine work's already done. The RE engine is amazing. And they're just working with assets in that engine. So the turnaround time for Resident Evil 2 Remastered or Resident Evil 3 Remaster is not long.
No, I mean April 3rd.
Oh, wow. I thought that got bumped farther than that.
Yeah, because I remember it people being all like, whoa, surprised about it. Yeah. So it just kind of popped up and is already ready to go. So it's already getting there's a lot. I saw pre-orders for it ready to go.
Nice.
So,
Happy Easter to me.
Yeah, right. And by the time you're done RE2, RE3 will be right around the corner for you.
And of course, RE2 you have to play twice.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, because you got to play it as Leon.
I know.
Player,
I know.
A story or B story.
But I mean, like, look, put it this way. I was very sad that I wasn't able to play all these games, but I am so happy that Final Fantasy VII did not get all the way pushed to September, October area. Like, I'm so happy that game's coming.
There's a demo or something coming soon, isn't there?
There's been a lot of rumors about it. Yeah. I could see it happening soon.
Well, and not only that, I could see them dropping a demo to be like, look, this is what we're doing. Hang on a minute.
Yeah.
Just play this and get where we're coming from, and then take a beat and keep your pre-order.
Yeah. So what's the game you're most looking forward to? Delay or not delayed?
Oh,
for
God.
This 2020?
Probably Cyberpunk.
I knew you were going to say that.
I have a 4K TV and an Xbox One X, and I'm going to look at that in 4K HDR, and I'm ready for the future, man.
You're so happy about all that now. That's awesome.
That, and depending upon when it launches, Halo Infinite.
Well, I don't know if that's going to be 2020, but we'll see.
No.
Is it supposed to be a launch title?
It's a cross-gen launch title between...
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Because Xbox doesn't do generations anymore.
Nobody's going to do generations
not
anymore.
really, but they're going to have the number for PlayStation just because it's going to sell well.
Yeah.
But anyway, Halo Infinite, we have some trailers and some information from, but we don't necessarily have gameplay. We don't have a heck of a lot of details.
Nothing.
And from what the rumor mill's pumping out, they're trying to make it almost like a shared world shooter. You have an instance-based mission run, but when you're not on your mission, on your assigned whatever, you can come across people on a battlefield. You can come across people in like interactive play style, which I think could be very interesting. I think they'd have to do limited server capacities where you're only going to get maybe like 50 people on a server, because you don't want to have a billion Spartans just running around, like, you know what I mean? But I think if they limit the server size and have it be kind of a give and take, I think it could be very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know about you, I like Destiny, but I'm kind of over Destiny.
Oh yeah, I've been over Destiny for
a
long
long time.
time.
I played Destiny 2. I ran through the campaign. I was done with it.
I'm not even looking forward to anything Bungie has.
Didn't play any of the expansions for 2. Played all the expansions for 1.
Yeah.
Had such a great time with 1.
I gave up at Rise of Iron. I stopped at that point.
Agreed. I did the same thing. I played a lot of the events around it, but I did not buy the DLC.
It felt unnecessary.
It felt like it was one more excuse to juice $20 out of me before Destiny 2.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
That's exactly what it was. And not only that, but I'm not going to lie, I was a little depressed with the lack of content going from 1 to 2. I don't need my guns. I don't need everything, but like, you put in X number of hundreds of hours.
And you said 10 years of one game, and you gave me 3.
Yep.
If that.
Yep. Which I understand. better engine, you want to do something else. Like, I get that, but then for my character not to carry forward in the same way, it almost feels like...
they slowly fuck you by releasing all the original... Like, Destiny 2 now has everything from Destiny 1 in it, but you have to re-earn it.
Yes,
like, and people get so hype about it. Like, they played the crap out of all of you Destiny super fans by saying, no, you can't have anything, then letting you get everything in Destiny 2, then slowly trickling out all your stuff from Destiny 1.
So, like, some fun Destiny facts.
That's free fake content.
At last check on Stadia, Destiny had 8,700 players. 8,700 people.
I'm surprised they had that much.
Yes, as am I. 2, Microsoft XCloud just dropped Destiny 2 on there, and it already has more players.
I'm going to tell you to get into that now. Why? Since you brought up your Series X or your Xbox One X and then your 4K TV. I wanted to get into that XCloud thing and Stadia because the fact that people keep saying is Stadia redeemable? Will we see Cyberpunk 2077 now at launch? Is that the reason for the delay? And I say hell no. They're not going to touch the Stadia release until they're done with everything they're planning. I don't think Stadia is redeemable whatsoever. And then after the text message I got from you the other day, I think Stadia is hot garbage at this point.
So I think Stadia, in theory, could be redeemable. The problem is, at this point, Google is going to have to put a third or fourth truckload of money into it to make it redeemable. It should have been launched as a closed beta, as a closed, early access test. If they did that...
A free one at that.
People would have graded it way easier. People came at it all hard because they had a presentation where they promised 8K 120. Why would you promise someone 8K 120?
And there's
it's not practical. Really. It's not doable. I understand they're working towards it, but when you say these words, people don't hear eventually. They hear, oh, 8K 120, so this is going to be the best thing since sliced bread.
Yeah.
So
and there's going to be a lot of videos out there about how it doesn't do 8K 120.
The only way I think Stadia can redeem itself is if they launch the free service and then it starts to supplement, or not supplement, but split the Steam audience. And you get a lot of those weird little indies, and it's going to be primarily, I feel, like a PC gaming platform or like a TV gaming platform, and it's not going to be really for console games.
The only thing splitting the Steam audience is Epic Games, and otherwise, nothing is splitting the Steam audience. I don't think any PC players are looking forward to something like Stadia at all.
No, but the reason I bring that up is because Steam has tried with Steam boxes and stuff like that to have that, let's put Steam in your living room kind of thing. Without having a full computer under your TV.
But I feel like most people that play true PC or Steam gamers, they're not looking forward to anything like that. They're going to keep playing their PC.
I would 110% agreed with you 3.5 years ago. Until the Switch blew up and became this indie machine.
Yes.
People are looking for places to play weird, interesting little indie games that are not in front of your computer with a keyboard and mouse.
Okay. All right, I'll give you that.
And that's what I think Stadia could evolve into if it lives long enough as the free service.
All right, I'll give you that then, because there's a lot of people that do play PC games that aren't PC gamers.
Correct.
They play PC games.
Our 60-something-year-old aunt is one of them. She plays Lumens or one of them.
Yeah.
And that's the reason she has
people
a computer with
I'm thinking the PC master race that laughs at consoles. They're not gonna touch Stadia.
No, as someone who plays legit real PC games, you're 100% right. But I think Google has a misidentifying problem where they're marketing to the wrong audience.
Yeah.
They tried to market to hardcore gamers, and hardcore gamers sniffed out, oh, you're full of BS. What was the meme from the guy where, he hit the keyboard, the space bar to jump, and he turned and pointed at the camera, and 3 seconds later, his guy jumps? It's dude, you can't go to people that are, tech-savvy, building your own system, people that know what's up, and try and snowball them with these specs. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
But shifting gears to Xbox and Microsoft's xCloud, dude, they're doing everything right.
Yeah.
They not only did a closed alpha, and then a closed beta, and then an open beta. They just keep adding games
ridiculous amount.
And more. One of the reasons I think flat out that xCloud is going to be a massive success in comparison to Stadia, I can play Madden on xCloud right now, and it runs fantastic. You can't play Madden on Stadia.
Yeah, if I handed that to anyone that I know that doesn't play games like that, I just handed them my phone and went, yo, check this out, they would lose their nugget.
There's a quiet majority of people that if you have, like, their game, their Call of Duty or their Madden or whatever,
you already win.
And if they're going to bundle, from what the rumor mill is saying, if they're going to bundle it in with Games with Gold and Game Pass Ultimate and Game Pass for PC as, like, the one service to rule them all kind of thing, I think it can be really impressive. I don't own Civilization 6 on Xbox, but it's on XCloud now. So if I want to play Civilization, I can hop on there. So I have it on my Switch, I have it on my PC, and I have it there.
Technically on your phone. Like, that's awesome.
That, not to mention the fact that Microsoft beat Google at the capability to wirelessly use your controller with your device. Because if you want to use Google Stadia on your phone, you have to wire your controller to it.
Which I can't believe they didn't.
Fail.
Yeah,
that is like the biggest fail.
Dude, I can use my PS4 controller on my phone and, like, play my mobile games.
Same
thing.
Thing with your Xbox controller. So I think Google really dropped the ball in a lot of respects. The Google Stadia launch reminds me of last gen's Xbox One launch.
Yeah, I was gonna say if they did this last gen, it would have been killer. It like before the Switch, like during the beginning of PS4 and Xbox.
The problem was last gen people weren't ready for it because Microsoft. I've gone back and watched that old Microsoft press conference. Microsoft tried to have an always on system.
I know, that was ridiculous.
No discs, all this kind of stuff, and it's like at that point.
And they used it as a marketing ploy, and that was the dumbest. You could have just done it without saying anything.
Well, and that's why Sony turned around and said, "This is how you share games." Just handed a disc, and it was like, as much as marketing is what it can do, it's also what it can't. You know what I mean? And I think Stadia fell into that trap real hard, whereas Microsoft learned from their lessons of, dude, we need to start slow. Get a core like test audience going, and then we can do the big push.
Yeah, and Google's way too cocky to learn lessons like that. They still think they're the best. Dude.
Not only that, but the fact that Google is notorious for if things don't go over well in a couple months or a year, just cutting the cord.
And when half of the people talking about Stadia mention what you just said, they're hearing that every time, and they're gonna go, well, you guys have got a point, and it's not doing great, so nobody's talking about it anymore. Let's just cut the cord. It's going to happen.
Not to mention the fact that Stadia was a new platform. You still had to go buy games, whether you paid for their monthly subscription or you're going to wait for their free version a year from now, if the service is still around. Xbox, your library just carries over.
Yeah.
So you already have a library, plus they just throw all these other games from Game Pass at you. So you literally, at a moment's notice, you have a couple hundred games you can just hop in.
Yeah.
It's to the point...
It's an infinite number more than what Stadia has.
And it's to the point where it's worthwhile to sign up for maybe Game Pass Ultimate and play on PC and play on XCloud and not have an Xbox.
Yep.
And then maybe when there is a first-party game you care about enough and you want to hook to your TV... then maybe you'll have an Xbox. As an Xbox gamer, I like my Xbox running direct. But it's interesting to see Microsoft thinking literally outside the box.
Yeah, 100%. I was just going to say, I think that the text message you sent me the other day of this right here definitely sealed, the xCloud sealed Stadia's coffin, put it that way. Mm-hmm. Microsoft did an xCloud drop, and shit on Stadia is your exact words.
Yep.
Halo, the Master Chief Collection, Destiny 2, Sid Meier's Civilization 6, Batman: The Enemy Within, Batman Telltale series, The Wolf Among Us, Wasteland 2, The Surge, Superhot, Portal Knights, Gunner, Kingdom 2 Crown, Sparklight, Tracks the Train Set game, and Train Sim World 2019, all free games on xCloud on top of the original 45.
So they now have over 100 games on xCloud that just work.
Literally took
They
walked up, took the hammer, here's the coffin.
Whether you own them in your Xbox library or not, they work. But more importantly, they're cross-save. Everything you do just goes back and forth seamlessly. Shout out to Phil Spencer. That's the way it needs to be done.
And then wait until it's cross-save to your Switch, cross-save to your PS4, cross-save to everything except what Google's doing.
Not to mention the fact that with the Master Chief Collection, you get ODST, you get Reach. That's literally every Halo game in one except Halo 5. Yes. Which Halo 5 was already on the service to begin with.
Yeah, and once Infinite comes out, I wouldn't doubt if they added that to the Master Chief Collection, too.
It's very possible. I think eventually they'll add it. I don't think they'll do it necessarily right away.
No.
Because they're going to try and, milk that cow.
A little bit, but I think they, like you said, they learned their lessons, and, like, this is a great way to go, okay, the Master Chief Collection will never die. Now, whenever a game is, however many years old, we just port it into that, add it to the collection.
It just gets added to the
anthology.
And
it makes people re-buy or for the first time, buy Master Chief Collection and go, oh my god, I got Halo 1 and up now.
Well, not only that, just to compare it to another service from another industry, just like with the Disney mindset. Yeah, I'll keep this service because I never know when I want to play Halo. I'll keep this service because I never know when my fiance is going to want to watch Lion King.
Dude, wait till 2030 when they go, 20 years of Microsoft, 20 years of Xbox. You know what I mean? Just like Disney, like you said, and they just go, hey guys, here's a catalog of our best original games. Sony could do the same, and they say, here's a catalog of 100 of our best original games for however many dollars.
So speaking of the anniversary of such and these awesome titles over the years and blah, 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 there has been leaked rumors going around that they're remastering / redoing Knights of the Old Republic.
My news feed today was flooded with that.
I was listening to Kinda Funny, and Tim Geddes made a fantastic point, which instantly made the most sense in the universe, that this is going to be an Xbox timed exclusive. Or, I'm sorry, he said it was going to be an Xbox exclusive. I say it's going to be an Xbox timed exclusive.
I disagree.
No, I think it is because, A, that game launched with the OG Xbox. That was one of the original reasons to buy an Xbox. That's the reason I bought an Xbox. I loved Halo, but I wasn't insanely gonna spend a couple $100 for Halo. I'll spend a couple $100 for some dumb Star Wars stuff.
I'll give it to you. It's definitely a possibility because EA is a little buddy with Microsoft, but the side-by-side rumors of Disney saying they're going to make an Old Republic movie. They've been talking about that for a little while. I don't see them doing any type of exclusive Star Wars game when they're also doing an Old Republic movie. That's just my thought on that.
I'll agree with you. The problem is the Game of Thrones guys that were rumored to direct the Old Republic movie aren't doing that anymore.
Okay, so maybe they switched gears and went to the game side of it again.
That's what I'm thinking, A. B, if it is a timed exclusive, Microsoft doesn't have to spend A, as much money. B, they get, in essence, a double launch, because they'll launch on the Microsoft platform, be a banger and a great reason to buy that system, and then a year later or 9 months later, relaunch on PlayStation and have that be another huge wave of sales. They're literally 1-2ing it because they can. And
I don't know. Because of the success of Fallen Order, I don't see them purposely making an exclusive Star Wars game.
I understand where you're coming from, but in the same token, 3 years ago, I never would have said Spider-Man would be an exclusive.
That was a thought in my head too, but that's also because of
it's
the
owned
Sony
by Sony.
rights. Yes.
Exactly.
Now, if there's some kind of contract still tied up, like you mentioned, with the Knights of the Old Republic original game, there's some kind of contract there with Xbox where they own certain rights to certain things.
They might have to have them sign off. And depending upon what version of the game they're remastering, whether it's 1 or 2, or they're merging them or whatever. So 1 was a BioWare game. 2 was Obsidian, who's owned by Microsoft.
Wow, that's an interesting thought.
Because you walk into the Obsidian offices, and there's just KOTOR stuff everywhere.
Yeah, but everybody can't mention that it was EA doing this.
Because EA technically owns
BioWare, though.
BioWare, A. B, the Star Wars license. C, the Old Republic name, because they have whatever they named. What is it? BioWare Austin still to this day runs the MMO of the Old Republic. You can hop in and play that game at any point. It's not the best graphics in the world because it's showing its age for a 2009, 2010, 11, whatever it was game. but it's still fun. It plays awesome. So I definitely think they're going to take advantage of this for 2 reasons. One, I think it's a safe Star Wars game. It's not in canon. It doesn't have to change anything. It doesn't play with whatever movie controversies are going on. It's set like a couple thousand years before everything that we know now goes down. I think they'll totally hop into that universe. Whether it's an exclusive or a timed exclusive, that's business decisions. But I 100% say this game's coming out.
Oh, yeah, or something of the nature. Yes,
because some people are saying it's a remaster. Some people are saying they're doing the Resident Evil style and doing like a remake, a reinterpretation of it.
Yeah.
And some people are saying they're just kind of swirling it all together and seeing what's going to happen.
I was going to say, the fact that it came from so many different people's articles, like I literally scrolled through a news feed today and was like, KOTOR. I'm like, wait, what? Like, how many?
I think this could also be...
Has to be a credible source.
The reason I also think this could be a timed exclusive is because you don't know who's developing it. It could be Obsidian working for Microsoft, because Obsidian already put stuff on other systems.
Yeah, you know what else it could be?
Totally does too.
You know what else it could be? Vincent Ampella just took over DICE.
Yes, he 112% did. Good call. He's still in charge of Respawn, but he's now in charge of like a huge chunk of EA's business.
Yep. And you think they're renaming the studio? That's number 1.
Yes, they are.
Number 2, DICE did Battlefront. Mm-hmm. Very similar in the vein of KOTOR and the way it plays in a way. Battlefront is the third person, like,
no, and I 100% agree with you, because there was something to Battlefront that felt great. The microtransactions ruined that game, but the combat, like as a droid charging up on clone troopers or vice versa, like it was a game. I bought all my friends that game. I enjoyed it that much. Mm-hmm. It was a shame the grind was how it was, but I get what you're saying.
That's what I'm thinking. If EA just made that shift where they're like, all right, Vincent Ampella, you take this studio. You just killed it with a Star Wars game. You weren't directly overseeing it, but you put the right people in the right places and threw together this game.
As a director/producer, that's what you do. It's like being a coach. You don't put your hands on the ball. You put the right people in the right spot.
So he walks into DICE Studios and goes, okay, you guys already have experience in a Star Wars game. Now I'm going to take some great team members from this group and pull them over here, and we're going to build a whole new Star Wars studio, and we're going to get Old Republic going.
Wow.
That's my thought process.
Dude, 2021.
When you said it, that's where my head went.
2021 is going to be bonkers, because we'll have the PS5 and Series X by 2021. Like,
into it.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, everyone's saying holiday. So what? Like November, December?
Yeah, I'm thinking October, September, because I know it says holiday 2020, but the way all the game delays have happened,
here's the question: who do you think's going to go first? I think Microsoft's going to jump the gun and try and come out first.
I think so too, and because they've had the most information come out,
the most releases, the most photos, the most everything. Which they recently just had that dev kit leak out, where it wasn't even a dev kit. I'm sorry, it was a non-production model. It literally was a complete 1X that ran and everything and came out, and it just says not for resale on it, and then on the back it has a diagnostic port.
Yeah, I saw. There's going to be a lot of cool things coming in 2021. It's going to be a bonkers year.
Yeah, and
the end of this year is going to open up a whole new world of gaming to us.
Phil Spencer has already said openly, like, oh yeah, that's what I game on at home is the Series X. So, like, it works. It's in the wild. It's live. It's only a matter of time.
Yeah, both consoles are pretty much ready. They're just tweaking and optimizing and making things smooth.
Not only that, but like they're clearing out the standard Xbox Ones. Like, you can get an all digital edition for $150, like not even on a Black Friday sale, just regular.
Yeah, deals are wild right
now. The One X is going for $349 or something with Fallen Order bundled. Like that's nuts. Yeah, that was a $500 console cheap a year and a half ago.
Yep. And things are going to just continuously go in that direction where they come out at a reasonable price for what it is, and then just steep drop. And like I saw a couple of things recently, a lot of people have been speculating, saying this is the last generation of consoles. It'll last anywhere from 7 to 10 years, and then we're going to be in a whole new world of gaming by the end of this generation.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Like 2030? Like, are you kidding me? 2030, full VR, full fucking immersion.
Shit, dude, I don't know if I'm going to live to
stick the game in my veins. Like,
I don't know if I'm going to live to 2030. I might not make it that far.
Fair enough. But honestly, I think that we've covered just about the gist of what we missed over the last few months. I really appreciate you guys watching. A lot of great and a lot of sad news. I hope you guys, any of the games you guys been looking forward to, didn't get delayed too much. But
please, like we said before, like, comment, subscribe, comment below. Let us know what we're doing awesome, or even what we're doing not so awesome.
Like, posting regularly.
Or possibly talking over him all the time. Whatever.
But either way, thank you guys so much for watching. We gotta try to get this out here more often. I miss doing it. I enjoy this so much. We gotta get back out here. I'm not looking for success in this. I just love the gaming world so much. Right. I love doing this. I love bringing you guys the info that you need to know and the stuff that's awesome. But yeah, again, thanks for watching, guys, and as always,
keep on gaming.
Peace out.